welcome. Lovely to have you here for a cup of tea today. I think I may have mentioned that I saw a spiritual healer a wee while ago, and he recommended I add some red seal peppermint tea to my digestive issues. So I followed him, and what I found out is each little tea bag has almost like a tarot card on it. So for today in New Zealand, you are my cup of tea. Oh, that's so cute. New Zealand, you are my cup of tea. So let's dive into it. Yesterday, Tiger King versus Fire and Fury. So that was yesterday, going off around the collective consciousness of New Zealand, and I want us today to just dive straight into Me Too versus mandates. What do they have in common, and how does that potentially impact on our mental health? So let's dive into it. I would summarise Me Too as give a little head to get ahead, and mandates take the prick or you get the stick. Do you see how this all relates to your mental health? This is you, who you want to be. And when you're working in environments, Me Too, I don't think it's secret, but the entertainment industry is a corporation run by psychopaths, and the Me Too movement highlighted that. It gave you a living, working example of how a corporation run by psychopaths commit bad behaviour that society does not consider acceptable. Raping someone, that's what he did, is not cool. And coercion and raping someone and saying, either you do this or you don't get ahead, that is so bad for a person's mental health. So bad for a person's mental health. Now imagine you're one of 1,000 people working in this place. The majority, 98% of people, are not psychopathic and narcissistic. And this behaviour in their industry, seeing it, being witness to it, being, I don't want to use the victim word, but being party to it, being involved in it, have it happen to you. Can anyone see how this is what could highly, highly, highly be likely to impacting on your mental health? The big picture, the corporations, the industries, the toxic world you work in, could that be responsible for your mental health and potentially not? This deep look into yourself and going way down here, and it's all about you, and you're a victim, and you're broken, and let's give up. And I think that is basically the summary I would say about the mental health support process I received within the systems that are there to provide it currently. The government, the taxpayer funded mental health corporation system, there is no services there for us, New Zealand. It's a fact. The systems that you can afford to pay for yourself, from my experience, the focus wasn't, let's take a big look at the world you're a part of, Kelly, and see how that could be impacting on your mental health. No, let's go deep into you. And then, because all of these feelings are triggering your childhood stuff, that because they're feeling the same. Let's examine that. And we get further and further and further away from what the big problem actually is. Ooh, yeah, this is going all over the shop, isn't it? So let's just remember what Hunter S Thompson said we mentioned it last week, but we'll re-mention it. The music business is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs. There is also a negative side. And the music business, what he is describing is what it's like working within an environment or for a corporation that is controlled by psychopaths. And as we did the cards and defined last week, music can be replaced with so many corporations and systems. Judicial, health, mental health especially, medical, educational, financial, politics, corrections, media, entertainment, local government, insurance, corporate, etc. It just goes on and on and on. So that's my thought today on mental health. If we change the system and actually it is all about you, but let's not make it all about you. Let's look at the big picture that you are a part of, and let's see if your mental health issues, your mental health, we talk about mental health, but really what we're talking about is mental illness, mental not healthy. Yeah, so that's the thing. Is your mental not healthy coming from the world that you live and work in? And we talk about the toxic world, and we, straight away think about our food and is there chemicals or pesticides in it. Food is so incredibly important, and yes, there's lots of people talking about that, but I'm talking about mental health. Could this mental not health be coming from the toxic environments that we spend 8 to 10 to 12 hours of our days working in, if these corporations and organizations are run by psychopaths? And that is how therapy gave me the key to figure out this mental health stuff for myself, is don't go deep in, go deep up. And this spiritual healer who recommended this tea for me, we had a moment where I was telling him about my childhood memories, and I have childhood memories of being probably up about here on the bell curve size in my childhood for the 70s. And I remember about 3 or 4 times in my childhood, my grandparents, my aunties telling me that I was fat and disgusting and that I would not ever have a nice life if I was going to be this fat. The thousands and thousands of dollars and hours talking about how much that hurts me, how much that hurts me, and trying to figure out all about them and their generational trauma and their experiences and why they were subjects of their own mental ill health and all of this stuff. Here's a fun fact. I would appreciate now, with hindsight, to go back in time and be asked, are there any other things you remember? Are there any other things they said to you? Because that's the insight I got with the spiritual healer, is when he asked me who said that, and I was talking with them up there saying, you did. And then I just felt this most beautiful feeling of love and an acknowledgement. Yes, we did on a few occasions. But then there was, and it was like I was shown a mountain, a field of all these other things that weren't the abuse. They weren't the abuse. They were the love, and they were the majority of the bell curve. And that was incredible for me. And so just a little, I am changing the mental health system. I'm doing it my way with my bell curves and my lines and my big picture. And I would recommend all counsellors, a question to add to your toolbook is, are there any other memories? Because that would have really helped me. So as we head back into this, you're just working here, and how do you stay like this when you're working in these places? So went onto the Twittergram last night after I had got home from being out with someone and having dinner, which was lovely. And there was a comment on there about fire and fury. Because a lot of people have watched it and have an opinion, which I believe lines up with what we did yesterday, that it is edited in such a way using a program developed for Psychological Operations Command to change and crystallize public opinion. So we went through that, and the cards confirmed that yesterday. And this gentleman who was there that day, he put this little post up. Legit think I suffered some mild trauma from this. I can't look at the pics or videos without some kind of extreme reaction of sadness or anger. And that is what PTSD and triggering looks like. So, and just the little bit of nuance is that this gentleman, this person, is looking at the exact events and replaying them. For myself, I was not in Wellington. However, I watched, and what watching did for me is it re-triggered the complex PTSD that I'm diagnosed with or have been diagnosed with, and I got re-triggered as well. So it pulled in lots of old feelings from old times of mine into my body, and then it's kind of like it's overlaid all of those images, and I too have an extreme reaction of sadness or anger now, even if I see a police car. And this is what I know of my brain and fight or flight. So we've done the bell curve, and this is my picture of a brain. Anyone who was good at drawing would draw it slightly different, but anyway, this is your brain. When you are not in fight or flight and you're regulated, you can use all of your brain. When you are triggered and in fight or flight and, either fawning and pretending that to go along with things that you are not going along with, you're frightened, you're frozen, or you're angry, you only get to use these parts of your brain. And seeing that comment, it had me come up to today's question. I was going to actually ask about, so what's happened with Three Waters? Because last week, before Dr. Guav dropped the tea about the bullying and the allegations of bullying and the allegations of misuse of taxpayers' money, Three Waters and the corruption all up in that grill was the thing. And now the corruption questions and allegations and things that need independent inquiries and investigations, all of that chat has gone away. So I was going to ask a question about that, but I've just mentioned it. So maybe someone else can ask a question on that who does tarot cards. That's the thing. I'm not the only person that does tarot cards in New Zealand. I know that. So the question for today, episode 15. Has fire and fury actively been released to manipulate the victims to be triggered re-traumatized so that their brain is not able to focus and function at this level and push them to these extremes, you know, that generate and crystallize actions that then will crystallize and confirm the, what was the thing on this thing? Crystallize and confirm public opinion. That's it, public opinion. So yeah, potentially it might be a backfirey thing, but anyway, I don't know, because I try my best to get into a couple of different Twitter echo chambers, and when I'm doing it, it's fantastic. But sometimes the algorithm figures me out. But anyway, I'm clever than that algorithm, so I will get back into 2 echo chambers at some point in the future. So we're going to do that. So we've got the New Zealand cards. I've shuffled them again to get some collective energy, and our collective energy today in New Zealand is justice. Justice, the god of war. Cause and effect, clarity and truth. So this is all going to come out. We got the justice card the other day. This will all become clear. And now we're going to do these cutty cards. And here's my next thing. I told this person last night on the Twittergram, I'm going to light a candle for you tomorrow. Whoops, just saw my fingers. So I am lighting a candle for all the people at the protests who were traumatized, who know they were traumatized and they are hurting. I light this candle and I send you healing love. For all the people not at the protests who were traumatized, I light you this candle and I send you healing love. And I light this candle for the people at the protests, not at the protests, but who do not believe they are traumatized. I light that candle and I give you the space of the South Island to explore your heart and actually ask yourself, why am I not affected by what we saw that day? So that's the candles, love and light, and may New Zealand heal. And after I finish this, I let these candles burn right out, because that's how much you're worth, New Zealand. You're worth the entire candle. And don't let any Queen of Cups, any emotional manipulator sit in her throne and tell you otherwise. Yeah, I'm not really sure who gave that message, but they really wanted me to calm the farm and let that one out. So anyway, beautiful to have you here helping us. Okay, so these are the ones they want on top. So let's just make that happen. Okay, let's get into it. Another long one. I really do try and keep these to about 15 minutes because that's how long I had for a cup of tea when I was working. But anyway, you can always do that. Make it on the, what is it? You can times it, times 2, make it go faster. So I'm just going to move this little compass. And I think what I'm trying to say here is when you navigate your little heart, you're doing it in 3D. That's why I bought that one. Okay, let's see if I pop that up there. Hopefully I can do this Kachina knife. So the question we're asking about the fire and fury. Was it actively released when it was? And to manipulate, so that's was it actively released? To manipulate the victims to be triggered and re-traumatized so that their brain goes into fight or flight. Then we have the past, what led to this, and what is now going on in between us. Page of Cups. The outcome, Page of Swords. And some advice. And some more advice. Okay, so I haven't really said before, but where cards are, they have aspects. So like yesterday when we had the Queen of Cups over here and the Devil underneath, what that was telling me was this person is going to try, well, both. They're ensnared by the devil. They've got chains trapping them. If you go look at the devil card, two things that lay in the past in the moon, secrets and things in the moon that we know nothing about. So yeah, where the cards are next to each other has some aspecting. Okay, let's get started. Was it released? I think we have the Eight of Pentacles. Someone in the physical and material world has been working away at that Fire and Fury documentary for quite a long time. And I don't believe we're talking about just that documentary. We're talking about the series of it's one in many pieces of these shows that have been put together to control and crystallize public thinking. And was it done to get people into this PTSD state? Yes, it was. Justice is on its way, and we're seeing it. All the things, the Three Waters things, the Dr. Guav things, the Sam the Man bullying things, the everything, tarot and mental health is my thing, but so many other people have other things. They have things about the treatment and if it does or doesn't work, and they're off doing that. So I don't get into that because I do the tarot and know that that's what they're doing because mental health is my thing. But yeah, people are busy beetling away, and the only chance for these corporations to get away with what they have done is to make people only operate with this much of your brain. Yeah, and I think the Sun card, that is New Zealand saying this. The Sun card is saying that you don't know how much we united in secret. You called them the river of filth. You don't know how many thousands of us were sitting at home, whether we were doing our tarot cards or working away for the whatever we were doing. There were so many of us that supported those people there, and that is now all coming out. The Page of Cups, people are getting braver to communicate emotionally, and this is all I'm saying is these people who are trying to get people to operate from these spheres of their brains are just offering you more and more and more emotional trickery. So what is the answer? The answer is the Page of Swords. So pages is once you get out of the 1 to 10 and you're page, knight, queen, king, that's kind of the evolution of you into a growing masculine, divine masculine and feminine. So this is swords are our thoughts and our minds. And this is New Zealand speaking up. We're almost, we're coming out, we're being quite creative. I'm doing it in my tarot cards. Some people are doing it different ways. But we are speaking our truth. And the advice is this. It's the same advice we've had for the last 5 or 6 cards. Please take care of you and your mental health. Find a way to get yourself regulated again. That is what you do for you to be the best you to respond to this ugly, to respond to the ugly of you've got to give a little head to get ahead, or you've got to take the stick, you've got to take the prick to get the stick, whatever I wrote under there. Get yourself regulated about that and then take them on. Don't do it from a place of fear or anger. And yeah, this is what's happening. This card aspects this card. The 7 of Swords, it's the thief card, it's the deception card. You can see it, just look at the card and how does it make you feel? A bit gross. So yes, this is what's going on. Trying to deceive you, trying to get you into this stuff, and and maybe hide 3 waters. God knows, because I'm still really, really keen to hear about that corruption. And anyway, we heard that the Dr. Guav, there's no need for an independent inquiry because someone feels that that's not necessary. Well, I think there's a lot of someones who would disagree. The other thing, this is the 9 of Cups. This is the self-satisfied card. And the best way I've ever found to upset a bully is to not let them upset you. So let it be us sitting there like that, emotionally stable and strong and secure and able to confidently communicate our truth. Don't let it be the people who are responsible for our bad mental health. And if we just want to finish today, which I do, with a little example, is the person I saw yesterday works in one of these industries, paid for by our taxpayer dollar, which, funnels to the corporation who tells us they have better use of they know better how to use our collective money than we would for ourselves. And this person has been put through the ringer with regard to rosters over the last 3 to 6 weeks, months, I don't know. However, as she said it, I don't play these games, I'm resigning. So she had a roster, she was told when she would work, and the roster kept turning up and it was not right, and that caused her stress in her real life to have to rejiggy things to work around this corporation who had not asked her. They had a commitment. You work for us on this day and we'll pay you this much. And she said, sweet as. And then the corporation could not meet that commitment to her. So she is resigning this week, and I am utterly convinced that one day she will be running this system, one of them, because she's incredible and talented and can see things from a much higher perspective, and is one of my role models at how to remain here and not here. So that has been a very long cup of tea today, and I've loved sharing it with you. And so finally, to finish, for the people in New Zealand who are hurting from being at Wellington, for watching Wellington, or actually those who hurt the most because they don't even realise they should be hurting, these candles and this day are for you. See you all tomorrow.